This is the spark that Bruins fans have been waiting for, as quotes coming out from this team and David Pastrnak, as well as Nikita Zadorov, have absolutely set fans on fire. We're going to be breaking down what they said, as well as jumping in later in this video to a major increase in the Bruins prospect pool, according to The Athletic, and we're going to be also going over why that is here in this video. Before we do jump into it, though, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, be sure to hit the sub button. Join me here on the channel. We're having a lot of Bruins news coming as we're so close to the season starting, and a very interesting season is incoming for this Boston Bruins team. So if you haven't already and you're looking for this channel to get up to 8K, be sure to hit the sub button. But let's get straight into this video, because obviously we've been in a bit of a different scenario this offseason as Bruins fans, waiting for this team to really get an increase in just about anything. And we've been seeing a lot of moves being made by this team, some questionable, some good, with fans and players not really speaking out too much about it. But David Pastrnak today has really sparked a quote coming into this. It sparked a lot of Bruins fans' excitement heading into this season and indicating that they're not just going to roll over and go and miss the playoffs, and they're going to be ready to get into a playoff spot. Now, let's jump straight into this with Pastrak's quote. He says, expectations are always the same here. You play for an original six team. They're always high. They always will be. We won't accept that what happened last year. The team that's going to dress in October is going to be very competitive. Now, this is obviously something that David Pastrnak and anybody would say on this team, but jumping into this kind of quote, jumping into this mindset is just one that Bruins fans were waiting for. We didn't really see it. We haven't really heard from it. I've heard from Sweeney partially and Marco Sturm, but now that we're seeing players come out about it as we're getting closer to the season, on a new fresh start, we have to remember we're not going to be in the same situation as we were last season, waiting for Jeremy Swayman to sign, having a lot of uncertainty, and there being too much attention on the Bruins. This season, we're heading into it now, no expectations on us, we're expected to be bad, and this team knows that's not going to be the case. Now, I want to jump in as well, going into the offensive, kind of scheme of this team. Now, looking at this here, I don't really see how anybody can say, yeah, this team is going to be a bottom in the league. And we're going to jump into a few projected standings here from JFresh and from another source, which is a very interesting one, which has some mathematical value to it. But looking at this lineup, and of course the defense, which we know is very similar to last year, especially healthier, which is the big thing, this team looks good. You know, I'm not going to say it's amazing. I'm not going to say it's bad. But this is definitely a middle-of-the-road, if not better, team. I don't know how you can say a player like David Pastrnak is going to miss the playoffs, especially when you're paired with Morgan Geekie last year who excelled, Elias Lindholm, who's back healthy, Elias Lindholm, who's now on this line, is going to be very good, Charlie McAvoy back healthy, Casey Middlestat potentially being traded, but also having the potential to have a bounce-back year, Pavel Zacha, being on the edge of trade rumors, he's going to be playing well, not wanting to be traded, and the rest of this team, the prospects that are going to be here, this team is showing that they're going to be good, and I think a lot of this is also banking on Jeremy Swayman not being the guy that we know he can be. He's going to have a big bounce-back year as well, and I don't think that any of this really shows any proof that this team is going to be bad once again, but that's not it from David Pastrnak. We've also had some other players come out, notably Nikita Zadorov, who's been very vocal since joining this team, and he had this to say: we've got to renew ourselves. The main goal is to get back to the playoffs and show our fans, show the city what we can do. Being a team that nobody is putting anywhere close to where we should be, it's putting an extra chip on our shoulders. So like I said, jumping into this, the team knows that they have no pressure on them, really. This team is not expected to do anything. The players are not taking that for an answer. They have a chip on their shoulders because this is the Boston Bruins. As David Pastrnak mentioned, it's an original six team. They're going to be doing whatever they can to get into this postseason, and we know that they are very capable of doing that, even with this roster. And for those who are new, for those of you who've been here for ages, I've been saying this entire summer, this entire offseason, that this team will be a playoff team. This is going to be a very good team. I know people might, throw shade in the comments. I fully believe, and you can put it on me, if we end up missing the playoffs badly this year, that I thought this team was going to make the playoffs. I fully do, and I still think we will. I believe in this team. So keep that in mind, write it down, whatever you need to do. Make sure that you're cheering for this team, because I think we have a lot of success coming. But jumping into it as well, this one here from JFresh. This is his projections on this upcoming season. He has Montreal at the bottom with Detroit. I think that's a bit crazy. Of course, Montreal, I hate to say it, is a very, very good team. Buffalo above, don't know about that either. And Ottawa, a bit shaky as well. But this is an interesting one for the Atlantic, and I think that this is certainly something that could be the case, but I certainly think Boston will be above Ottawa, Buffalo, and Detroit. I think Montreal may be above us, but I wouldn't say that if they weren't. But Buffalo here, he has in the playoffs, which I think is just genuinely crazy. Let me know what you think in the comments below here about that. But this one here, coming from FanDuel over and under. So there's a bit of math behind this, I guess, going over who would be in the playoffs, who wouldn't be, everything like that. But when you look at this one, they have Boston 77 points. One of the worst teams in the NHL. I believe the fourth worst team in the NHL here. This is genuinely insane. And, the over and under, so if, I wouldn't say bet on that, I wouldn't say go gamble on this, but the odds here for this, I think, are definitely in the Bruins' favor to be over here. Genuinely insane that you're seeing these kinds of teams above this Boston Bruins team. Second worst in the Eastern Conference, only ahead of Pittsburgh by 1 point. I think this is genuinely insane, and this is not going to be the case. But it just goes to show, and just kind of proves my point once again, that people are counting this team out. They have no hopes from no expectations, and the Bruins know what they got. They know what they're made of, and they know what they're going to do heading into this upcoming season here. So I don't want you to give a record in the comments below, but let me know where you think they could stand in the points. Obviously, I'm not saying they're top of the Atlantic. I wouldn't even say top 3, but this team certainly has the opportunity of being a playoffs. But if you're seeing a team like Ottawa right here, or going into this one here, a team like Buffalo being a playoff team, no chance, absolutely no chance. So give me a point total. You think in the comments below, make the playoffs, yes or no? And regardless of what Don Sweeney's doing, this roster currently, I think if there's changes that are going to be made at the deadline, I'm not counting that in at this point right now. Let me know what you think. But we also have another update regarding this team. And this constantly comes with this team being supposedly to be very bad, but also the way that Don Sweeney has kind of manipulated this team to turn into the future. And this comes out right here. Last year, you're looking at the ranking of the Bruins prospects, 29, but they gave this year a B in the draft grade. Now, where are we currently this year with the prospect pool? Currently 20th in the NHL. Still not great. Really, it's still not great. But when you're jumping up a considerable amount, not being one of the worst in the league, and also being in half a season, really, this is a significant jump, and one that fans are going to be very excited for. And of course, we know the prospect pool is taking a major hop here in this year. Going into some of the names, I mean, just taking a look at the top here. James Hagen's being drafted, of course. Fraser Minten being traded for. Fabian Lysell has been here. Dan Zochmelis has been here. Dean Letourneau has been here for a season. He's still at 5, which is good to see after a very big drop last season. And, of course, we're expecting a major jump here. But William Zellers as well here at number 6. Really below a lot of these players here. But seeing this list have a lot of newer acquisitions in it is definitely a positive thing. And what really increased this up to 20. Now, going on throughout this list as well, this is just from Daily Faceoff, so you're going to see a lot of different lists, but you're going to see a lot of better players as well come into this over the next few seasons. Let's not forget this team now has 2 first-round picks in each of the next 2 years, and whether that means they're going to pick those, whether that means they're going to trade them, it's still uncertain. But there's moves that are going to be made that are going to be very, very important over the next few years that are going to increase this prospect pool over and over again in the next few years. So let me know what you think about that hop as well in the prospect pool, but that is all I have in this video. I want to know what you guys think about the point total, how your projections and kind of thoughts are heading into the season for the team, because I think we're going to see a lot of similar stuff from what David Pastrnak and Nikita Zadorov had to say here today over the next few weeks before we get into the season, but this is just the beginning, and we're going to see a lot more like this, so let me know what you think. That's all I got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. I'm signing out, though. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.